Hi there, and welcome to ClassMaker 2019. This video will show you how to tweak or fine-tune the class lists that you created in ClassMaker previously. The first thing to do is to import the previously saved class list. In order to do this, we hit File, Import Saved Class List, and we'll bring up a folder where you can find the data that you've saved. In this case, we'll use the same data file that we just used in the previous video. Select it, press Open, and you can see it brings up the previous data file as before. In order to do any fine tuning, we then hit the Tweak Classes button. Hitting that brings up a brand new window in which you can move the various student names between different classes. You do this by a standard drag and drop technique, which I'll show you now. So let's say that we want to have Matilda Wildebeest in a different class. We will pick her up, drag her across to class A. And you can see she's now in there. We've now got 11 students in that class and only 23 in class C. And all the numbers down here will update. Let's say we move Frank Yak across to replace her. And what we've done now is you can see that some of these names have changed colour. The change in colour is related to whether the students are now friendless, have an incompatible student in their class, are both friendless and incompatible, or do not have an essential match. So by moving Frank Yak across from class B to class C, he hasn't got an essential match with Sophie Butterfly, who also doesn't have an essential match anymore because Frank was one of her essential matches. Dominic Lyon now comes up blue because he is actually incompatible with Frank Yak. James Sheep is now red because the only friend who was in his class that he had was Frank. So by changing one name, you can see all these different effects have happened, and ClassMaker will give you that real-time information to say what has happened. Also, you can see there are some of the additional buttons which were inserted into the student database file, in this case, the accelerated group or the ESL group. By ticking the checkbox, the students who are in the accelerated group now come up in bold. So Max, Andrew, Joseph, Daisy, and the like. The other students who were in the ESL grade are shown here if you click the button marked ESL. The third checkbox is the Show Friends box. If I check that and then hover over, for instance, Zoe Velociraptor, what happens is that a box comes up where you can see Zoe's friends, who are Mia, Jessie, Charlotte, and Zoe, Zebra, and they also come up in bold. And so you can see if you want to change Zoe into a different class, where she has her friends. So I'll pick up Zoe, transfer her across to class C, and now she still comes up as uncoloured because she now still has a friend in class C. I'll undo that. The window down below here shows the school leavers area. So if you've got a student who is leaving, you can grab them and put them down into here, and then see what effect that has. So if James Turtle leaves, that's made quite a bit of an impact on class B because quite a few students are now friendless. So you may have to go back and redo that class list. You can move as many students around as you like, and once you've got a class list that you are happy with, you can then save the classes. Saving the classes as before, you can save them in full data format or summary data format. Full data format, you remember, is easier to edit later. Summary format is for when you want to finalize your class lists for final approval. So let's say we don't want to save it in full data format. We want to save it in summary data format only. We'll say no, brings up a box to say it's the summary tweak data set, and we'll save that, and that's our final list. If you've made so many movements and these are actually a mistake and you can't remember where they were going, you can restart and this will bring up the previous data set that you had saved before. You can also print from this screen if you want to get a low resolution copy of the numbers and the students that you've made in your database file. Cancel to finish, and then you're back again.